doing, then it leads to shiny object syndrome. You become a squirrel chasing two nuts. Let me break that down a little bit. Grant Cardone said that within his business, right? He said that he can do one thing, make one piece of content, and it's able to make him money in about 3 or 4 of his businesses.
What are you doing today that makes you better than the person you were yesterday? That is part of the Ascension brand. That is the motto, the heart of what we stand for. When I pass away, I want people to know. I want people to remember me, not for the time that I spent on this planet, but for the things that I have done to contribute to society. My mama raised a loser, but I broke the chains. I wasn't made to be a player, I was made to build a game.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Dirty Trunk Podcast with the elephant is always welcome. Ooh, it is me, your boy Marcus Morton. Always here with me is the Aaron Mack, and we're back in the lab once again on this beautiful Saturday at 4:30 a.m. But before we get started, please trample over that like and subscribe button. We do this for y'all because we love y'all, and we just want to give y'all the motivation to be better than y'all were yesterday. How are we doing, Mac?
I want to highlight the Saturday at 4:30 a.m. part. Just want to highlight that.
Still in the bed.
Know what I'm
Probably
saying?
ain't gonna get out of the bed until 10, 12.
Nah, for real though, I was feeling it this morning, bro. Like sometimes you get to a point where you just kind of burnt out.
I feel
And yeah, man, I was just like, yo, what are you doing? Like I was like, yo, I was talking to Alyssa a few minutes ago. I was like, I just wanna stay in bed, man. Like I don't even think I want to get up today. But I got to. I can't just stay here. Like, baby crying, she cuddling the baby. And we got her to calm down or whatever. And I was like, yo, I feel like this is the move, but I got to get up and get moving, man. Can't do it.
I feel that. But I mean, take care of yourself in the process, don't
How
just
you do that when you
I understand. It's I ain't gonna say it's tricky, but it's just like I want to say like your limits. Like that if you up past a certain time, you know how it's gonna affect you like later on the next day or something.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes you got to take that L. At least put in some type of effort towards your passion or something. Like at the end of the day, after the job, I know. I still got to come home and take care of Cord and Jace or whatever and all that other stuff. But like, I at least try to get up here and put something in. Learn something, if no matter how small. Because it's gonna pay off down the line, and that's all it is. We're in a position right now where we're still learning. We can still make those mistakes. We're not fully into our craft like we would want to be, so it's a learning process.
We're doing too many jobs. That's the thing that I'm looking at right now, and that's why I feel like
true that.
Yeah, because Et was like, he said something about his son. His son came to him and said that he was tired, and said he'd been doing a whole bunch of work, and saying like he getting anywhere. He said, son, I'm gonna be honest with you. The reason why you feel like you ain't getting nowhere is because you doing a whole bunch of stuff that ain't really pertaining to the goal. He was like, but what you mean? Like I got this going on, got that going on, and it's all for this. He said, look, I understand, but you doing all that, you ain't doing what you supposed to be doing. What are you supposed to be doing in that matter? You trying to do your thing and everybody else thing at the same time. So you need to delegate. So I'm starting to feel that a little bit. So man, yeah. Yeah, I think that's what's going on here. Especially after hearing about the dude for Power World, dog, the CEO of Pocket Pair don't even know how to make video games. Mark, it gave me a new perspective on life, man. Gave me a new perspective on life. I'm like, yo, what am I doing?
Same. So I've been watching a couple of videos, right? Basically, pertaining to the topic or whatever, and like dudes, main guy, Thomas Brush, he really gives me inspiration about like the game dev scene, right? Because he talks about how, and he did it the safety net way, right? He still had the job or whatever because he had a wife and kid at the time, and he was like, you can get funding, for your game and all this other stuff without even having the game 100% complete. Like if, because basically to get a publisher or to get somebody to back your video game, all you need is a great idea. Like the rest of the stuff can come down the line, but like you get a good trailer going, you get a good
some concept art and all that other stuff like that.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
you can get 6 figures without even completing your game, or and it can go into any other aspect, book writing, movie ideas, the thing we were working on with Alex or whatever. If we would have pitched that, it didn't even have to. We would probably didn't even have to have like a whole season complete.
We didn't even have to make the first episode. So
right.
Send it to the right person. They like, oh, okay, yeah. I got you. Yeah. I'm feeling this. I'm picking up what you putting down. Let's do that.
Right, and because I had that mentality. I thought, I had to have at least something done for me to get started. But like people don't understand that. Like you can get started off of a dream. Like that's how every good idea, everything that you look at, you started out as a dream, as an idea. The toaster, flat screen TVs, but we get into this mentality. I don't know where it comes from.
It all comes from 9 to 5, bro. You know where it comes from. It comes from poor people thinking. You know exactly where it comes from. It comes from years and years of being on a time clock instead of in your home office. That's exactly where it comes from. We know where it comes from. Because 9 to 5 living, you don't necessarily think like that. You think, get what you can get kind of situation. And if it ain't in front of you and the boss don't tell you that you can get it, or ain't nobody in your face telling you what to do, then you don't necessarily go that route. So yeah, that's where it comes from right there.
And that's another thing, right? Why are we always looking for that? Like,
yeah.
There's so many people out here that have literally no guidance. They barely think for themselves. And when they do thinking for themselves, it's some type of pleasure involved, some type of immediate pleasure involved, and that's where we get, that's where the addictions come from. Spending money on just the most ridiculous things, like, oh man. And tax season just came. People getting their taxes back, and you already know everybody acting crazy.
Yeah,
everybody probably went to the dealership, bought a new flat screen TV on top of the other flat screen TV they already got. All these luxury items being sold right now, and it's just like nobody want to buy a course. Nobody want to invest that money. Try to make a little bit more money for you, and stuff. And it's just seeing that year after year after year. You would think something would change, especially with like the government is they ain't holding back no more. They clearly saying, look, we want y'all to work till y'all die. We ain't gonna give you no raise.
I mean, they've been saying that. Like it just hasn't been as
in your
It
face.
hasn't been as obvious as it is right now. And it's because it's the information age, now you know that it's obvious that they feel that way. Because you could clearly see the information, and they just recently had Donald Trump as president, and he told you that. So like,
Yeah.
so like, it was just one of those things. Like, okay, now everybody knows. So it's like, okay, well, now you know, you still ain't about to do nothing about it, and they don't expect you to do anything about it. So they're like, okay, well, shit, they obviously not trying to change it. So we could tell them it don't really make a difference at this point, right? And it don't.
That's
Because you can tell some people that, like, you can say, hey, look at what your parents did. And they'd be like, what now? Like, they don't even bat an eye. Like, hey, it's wild, right? Like, I was listening to S2S yesterday, the Secret to Success podcast, dog. And my man CJ, dog, he only had one job in his entire life. One job. And it was because his dad, when he was working for GM out in Detroit. Like, first of all, these dudes were from Lansing, Michigan, and they were driving to Detroit. It's 45 minutes away. Driving from Lansing to Detroit to go work at this plant. His dad told him when he got out of school, when he graduated the first time, was like, all right, so look, you gonna come work for me, or work with me at this plant. And he said, I don't want you to get a job here. I don't want you to make this your career. I just want you to just work here for one summer so you can see why this ain't where you're supposed to be at.
Cool.
Bro, it gave me chills when I heard him say that, dog. It was like my dad, he pulled me in there, was like, yo, like, I just want you to see that this is not for you. Like, no human should go through this. Like, just come here, work one summer, and just see that this ain't what you're supposed to do. You got options, son. Bruh. Yeah, man. Yeah. All right, so look, check this out, Mark. We're gonna take it like this. We're gonna take it like this. You had a topic, and I want to go into this topic the right way. I want to set it up correctly so we can pull every morsel out of it that we can. So I'm gonna ask you this question: What brought? All right, so we here to talk about safety nets.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I want to ask you, what part of your life right now generated this topic? Like, what's going on in your world that made this topic resonate with you? Let's go from there.
So, it's basically a mixture of two things, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not where I want to be in life, and we just don't make enough right now. Just to do what we want, to do what we love, it's not enough. And I feel like if I could go full time into my passion, if I could just put a little extra time in there, bump going to that job, and just, doing the bare minimum, coming home tired, and just having to muster up the strength to put time into my passion. It's just not working. It's like I just want to say bump the job and just put my head down and do this, but I can't. Well, I can, but it's just that
there's some
feeling
consequences that go up. Yeah.
So that's the main reason that this got brought up. And I'm hearing all these stories of people just like, doing that, getting rid of the safety net and going full time, despite what other people say, despite the risks that are involved, and at the end they become wildly successful. And I'm like, getting rid of that safety net, there's literally only one option, is to succeed. So
Yeah.
why not? That's
Yeah.
the feeling that's in the back of my head.
And it makes you it brings you to a point where it almost drives you mad, dog.
It do. Oh my
Like
God.
you just be like, yo, am I tripping? Like I see the consequences. Like if I do this, I literally see the consequences, but I also see what can be.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't. I don't know if I can justify though what the possibilities are to my significant other if we we make this shift. Like it's so crazy, man. And man, it's so wild, dog. Like I just be like, yo, there are people out here who succeeded in doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what am I doing? It's so many success stories where people decided that they were going to quit and just throw caution to the wind and just go and do whatever they wanted to do, and they succeeded eventually. But here I am, just like, all right, I'm going to keep caution,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to stay at this job with my safety nets.
Mm.
Yeah. And it wasn't until recently when I took this 6 weeks off from my job where I felt like, because I wasn't working, like only thing it took was like a few days, dog. I was like in the mindset where, getting up in the morning and having to go trudge myself down into some warehouse and clock in or whatever. It took like a few days for me to detox that thought process.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was back to home business mode. And when I got into that mode, I realized that the feeling of hustling is real when you don't have a job in front of you. But at the same time, I still had the safety net, so I was just kind of wondering, like, if that was like contradictory to the idea, if that make any sense. Because they were still paying me.
Yeah. So it's kind of like can you truly say you're without that safety net? Like if that safety net was truly gone, would you go harder?
Would I even go harder?
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know, because you're kind of in like a little special situation, because you've already published a book. You already know that process. Like, say if you did this maybe probably 5 years ago. Maybe you before the first book was published, you got rid of Amazon. It was just like, all right, I'm gonna write this book. I feel like there would be a little bit more more concern in the background. But I mean, you back then you also didn't have the responsibility to now. I mean, but,
yeah.
So yeah, you're in a little special situation right now. But I feel like in certain cases that hustle mindset would have still been there. You still would have been putting in some type of effort, because you still would have had that. You have to get it, like, regardless of what happens, you have to be successful. It's like, I'm not going back to corporate America. I've seen what corporate America did to, my family. I've seen what it does to others. I've just seen what it does to people in general, and this is not the life. Like, bro, I worked at one job, worked at the shipyard, and I saw a guy, clear as day, climb up a scaffold, fall off the scaffold, bounced off the ground, got back up, and rode off. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure he didn't.
Oh, he just act like it ain't happen.
Yep, because I saw him the next day, and like he won't in the
Limping.
sling or nothing. Like, so I know he ain't go to the
He had
doctor
the
or
limp
nothing to get
on.
it checked off. Yep. And I'm like, you doing all that because you don't want to, or you believe that you're gonna get
Can't
paid less
afford
or
not to
something.
work.
I'm like, yeah,
You
I gotta get up out of here.
sacrifice your body for an idea.
And I'm like, bruh, I was like not that far away. Dude dropped, and I'm looking around like, did no one else see this? But are we the
No, it's
only
normal
two
to
here?
them. It's normal to them, bro.
I'm talking
People
about.
do it. People do it all the time, man. With the exception of like the young people, like young people coming up, they like, I'm going to Amcare every 20 minutes. I ain't really trying to feel. I ain't really feeling this. Like, you want me to do what? Man, I just hurt my finger, dog. Like, I just got me a paper cut, dog. Come on, man. I ain't doing that, dog. I gotta get disability. Like, they ain't bought all that. They like, yo, I'm coming here to like, I got this safety net, and I know that I don't need to sacrifice my body to keep the safety net. So I'm just gonna do whatever. Like, I mean, I guess like people kind of adapt and figure out the system a little bit. We kind of make our own way, um, or fix our own way through it. I guess you could say, because like those same people who willing to throw their bodies away for their job are complaining about the younger people who coming in who spending a whole bunch of time in amp care. But those people kind of got it figured out, in my opinion. Like, that's just me. Like, you come in and you spend 2 days at the nurse station at your job getting out of work, but you still getting paid. Like, I just feel like you kind of got the game figured out already. And if the system gonna allow you to do it, then by all means go ahead and make your way in it. So
Yeah, because I swear, working at Amazon, I seen a dude in a arm brace for at least like 4 months straight, maybe even 6.
hey,
Not
man,
even 6 months. Um, there's a guy that we used to work with. You know who I'm talking about. Always goes on leave, comes back. Nah, not leave. Wasn't it always something medical or something?
no, I need more information. I don't really know who you're talking about.
Something fell on dude's head, and then he was out for that, and then um, he was out for something else too. He always
I
had like
don't know.
foot problems, something wrong with his foot or something like that. Rudy, talking about Rudy.
Yeah, I ain't really work with him like that. I thought you were talking about somebody from our department.
Oh no.
Nah. Yeah, dude, he figured the game out.
Yeah.
He figured it out. Like, okay,
On
well,
many occasions.
if they're gonna pay me for doing this, then I'm gonna do it.
Ridiculous. But yeah. Um. So how you feel about that? Like, how do you feel someone should, if not go all in, try to put themselves in a better position to where they can go all into their job. That not their job, their passion. Which if turns into a job, turns into a job.
Man, one thing that I've been recently working through, and I dropped this on you. Like, I realized I dropped it on you like right before we hit the end button on the call last week. That I changed careers recently, and I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out if that was the right move, bro. Like, it's been at least 7-8 months. I remember talking about it on the episode last year sometime where I was thinking about a career change and trying to figure out which career change was going to be the best one. And I decided to do it on the principle that Grant Cardone kind of gave it to us. He said, you need to make sure that your job is in line with your passion. That way, if you start a business, your business can grow off of your job, and everything that you do should be able to feed off of what you're already doing. Because he said what happens is if you're starting a business and it doesn't line up with what you're already doing, then it leads to shiny object syndrome. You become a squirrel chasing two nuts. Let me break that down a little bit. Grant Cardone said that within his business, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said that he can do one thing, make one piece of content, and it's able to make him money in about 3 or 4 of his businesses.
Okay.
I don't want to let that sit there for a second. So he's in real estate, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's also in sales training. He's also in a whole bunch of other different things, internet marketing. I'm not really sure if some of the other stuff that he got going on. It's a lot of stuff. That man is into a lot of things. He's almost a billionaire at this point. So he got a lot going on. Gary Vee is the same way. These guys, they have a lot going on the internet, but there's nothing that they do that doesn't feed something else that they do. So essentially, everything that they do is able to add value to each of those businesses, which means that they never have to, like, once they go in, they never had to pull out and go into another thing, if that make any sense. Like once they're in, they locked in. So like they don't need to change their focus. Okay, well, I'm working at Amazon right now. Okay, when I get off, let me go write books. Like they never had to go in, pull out, and go into something else, because once they're locked in, whatever they're working on feeds whatever they're doing. So I think it's just one of those situations where we need to make sure that we're intentional about what we're doing for work. Like if you're a 9-to-5er and you got to be a 9-to-5er, like I'm starting to learn that you just need to start there, because that's the starting point. You can't skip past not making money. Like you can't go from it's not a lot of people in 2024 going from sleeping on their parents' couch with no job and unemployment to wildly successful. Like I don't know if that's necessarily happening too much right now. So obviously, the world is pushing you to get a job because you got to be able to make a living somehow. So if you got to have a job, what I'm learning is if you have to have a job, make sure that it lines up with something that you're already doing.
Okay. I like how you explain that, because too many times we hear of that. The whole, all right, I got to get a job. Now I got this job. Now that I'm getting some money, and we were doing that. We were work. After work, you were writing books. After work, I was, learning Blender, learning Unreal. And why not, cut out that piece, or not even cut out, but merge that too. Merge the 9-to-5 with the passion. So if we're going to the 9-to-5 to make money, why not put ourselves in a position where we're learning Blender, or we're writing books, or at least learning how to sell books, down the line.
Well,
see that.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say we see that dollar sign, and it's just like it don't matter what the job.
Oh yeah, that dollar sign is king.
We just go for it. We could literally have a job where, your work environment is literally toxic. Like you going to work and your job is producing fumes, or putting something in the air, and like before you even go to the job, you got to get checked out. You got to do this the screening where they check your lungs and whatever, see if they're already clean, and then they tell you about the risks and all this other stuff you can get from the job, and we still go to it. We still come to it faithfully, and it is wild, Brett. I'm like,
All right.
yeah,
All right. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And
All
anything
right.
with like welding and uh anything like even electrical work, like one
Oh yeah, they
mistake.
start telling you about the asbestos and stuff. Like if you ever had to go in anybody's attic, then the risk of breathing in the insulation and all that other stuff like that. Yeah, I got you.
And it's
Um.
just like we see
Oh
these
yeah. Right.
warning labels and we still go for it
The thing
wholeheartedly.
that the thing that really spoke to me was like I was thinking about it after Grant Cardone said that, right? And I was thinking about the difference between my job and Alyssa's job at Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yo, Alyssa able to network. Like there have been times where she linked up with like other people outside of just her day-to-day responsibility. Like she ended up having a conversation with people about real estate and they end up taking the conversation outside of work or whatever. And I'm like, yo, I'm not even able to do that in my position. Like the only people I come in contact with are my immediate coworkers and the people who work under me. Like they don't know nobody else even like we don't
Comes your
like
way.
we don't even come we don't even have conversation like that because like the people that I'm working with they just grunt workers.
Yeah.
They're not even into that. Like so she's able to talk to people like higher like higher in level, and you know some of the things that they got going on, she was able to learn that some of the people were doing real estate, learning from some of the people, connecting with them outside of work. And I'm like, yo, why am I not able to do that? And then you hear about other people and their jobs and how their job was able to give them connections to do certain things. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Obviously, I
Right.
need to go somewhere where I can give me some connections at least, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the the biggest change, you know, I don't think I ever said on this podcast what I was going to do. My next phase is going into motorcycle sales. And the reason I chose that because you know we live in Virginia. There's really nothing you can do as far as writing goes. And when something comes up, I'm definitely on it because you know if I could give me some writing or what I guess you got literary connections.
Mm-hmm.
If I give me some literary connections from a job, I'm gonna want that one. So like because that's the main goal. You know motorcycles is my passion and I'm going into something that may take the passion out of motorcycles, and I understand that. But at the same time, I may be able to get some connections to feed the brand that I'm already building, which is Iron Titan.
Okay.
So I'm seeing opportunity right now, and you know they already told me they like, look, you got the platform already. Use it how you see fit. So if the
Ooh.
platform, yeah, right. That was the first thing I asked. I was like, all right, so look, I'm already online doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have to stop? They like, nah. As long as you don't say nothing bad about the company, it's not a conflict of interest. You good. So I
All
can
right.
continue doing that. I can continue doing the motorcycle. Come on, bro. Like this boss moves, bro. Like if I gotta work a job, work something that makes sense. And what I was doing at first just didn't make sense. Like working Amazon didn't make sense because it didn't feed what I was already doing. So I chose to do motorcycle sales because if I'm doing motorcycle sales, I'm meeting people in the motorcycle industry, getting fans in the motorcycle industry. The fans want the ride. The fans come on, bro. Y'all not hearing me, dog. Y'all not hearing me. So like, if you gotta work 9 to 5, dog, it gotta be something that makes sense. And you know, maybe this don't, you know, it doesn't. It's not the thing that makes me wildly successful, Mark. But I can guarantee you, it's going to be a lot better than sitting in somebody's trailer loading boxes, dog. Because loading boxes don't have nothing. They don't have nothing to do with motorcycle rentals. Loading boxes have nothing to do with Iron Titan. And if I'm already spending hours a week doing it, what's the point?
Yeah. Why isn't that taught in school? Why isn't that,
And
bruh? Like that just
it
blew
is
my
so
mind. I'm
simple.
like,
It's so simple, Mark. Like I already got sales experience. Why wasn't I doing that at first? Granted, I'm thankful for the time I had at Amazon. It got this podcast, got my daughter in the other room. Like I was very thankful for the time that I spent at Amazon. But bruh, I set myself up for failure
yeah,
on the in my career. I set myself up for failure.
that, and I don't know why. It's just like that. And we talked about it before we got on. We're in that informational stage where everything is in your face now. It's no excuse for you not to know nowadays. And it's just
You can
like
Google it.
that made so much sense. What you just said just like blew my mind, because this is like, I might have heard it from a video or something, but like I guess it wasn't explained like that, because that blew my mind. I'm just like, yo, why isn't people on this? Like the people that we know, that are in our immediate circle, like we know some of them, like why they ain't working at a job where they can be a handyman, they can learn more skills in being a handyman, or they can work at a chef jank, be a what do you call it, a sous chef, not the
Mm-hmm.
top chef, but like
Yeah,
the step down from the top chef or something, or like
yeah.
just something that is in line with their passion, because the jobs are out there. Maybe they would have to relocate, or maybe they could do it remote. Who knows? They
Mm-hmm.
probably haven't even looked or thought about the opportunity to put themselves in a position like that. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, that makes so much sense. But again, back to that dollar sign. We if the job pays more than the job in our immediate area, we're willing to drive an hour and a half to get to that job. We ready to break down the car. We're ready to just
And it
like,
never makes sense to me, dog. Even when I did it, dog, I was so confused as to why I was doing it. Like I didn't really. I was like, yo, this ain't working, bro. This ain't working, Mark. But I tell you, 2013, I bought my Altima, dog. By 2015, that Altima was already breaking down on me
ridiculous.
with over 100,000 miles, dog, in 2 years.
Mm. And we got people doing worse than that. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
if we can just, if not get rid of the safety net and go into your craft, do what Max says, figure out what you need, find that formula to where all you have to do is put yourself in place and everything works out. Like you said, it feeds. Like, oh man, like
Grant
you
Cardone said,
can
"One hand
make,
washes the other."
oh, God, just
That's all
with
you got to remember. One hand washes the other. If the other hand don't wash the other hand, then you're not doing it right.
facts. We trying to wash one hand, and then
We trying to use somebody else's hand to wash our hand. We trying to put our fingers in their sink.
that is wild.
Yeah.
But for real, like that formula is is dope. Like, not even in a field of sales, but just being, your authentic self, being in something that you love, and having that piece where you're recording it, or having that piece where you're connecting with other people, and just like bringing value to a brand, to a person, to a company. We see it makes you money. It might not make you millions, but it puts you in a position to where you can scale that junk as big as you want.
Exactly.
And it'll give you that freedom, or at least that sense of freedom of, I ain't got to go to a 9 to 5. I ain't got to go to a job and slave away. I still might have that job. I still might have, you still going to be in sales. You still got something, but like you said, it feeds into the next, which feeds into something else, and it just trickles down the line. We just at the end of a trickling cycle. We the grunt workers of this big network of something, and we're just getting scraps. We're not putting ourselves in the middle of the flow to where we can feed something. I'm mad now. I wanna. I'm mad all over again.
But bruh, that video, man, that I sent you, like, I felt like my whole life was in that video, dog.
Same.
Like, just seeing what those dudes were doing, bro. It was just like, all right, man. Like, dude, from the beginning, my man was like, "Yo, let's go." Like, my man was like, "We ain't got no plan, but let's get it." Like, he was down. Like, they were doing their go through, bro. And the joint that hit me the hardest was like when he showed the text message from his mom, dog. I was like, on, dog.
I was like that. Yep,
right.
That
gave me chills, dog. I was like, oh man. Like, it changed the whole complexion of the video. I was like, yo, I thought this was supposed to be happy.
I mean, so following your passion, it's especially because we're in the environment we're in. It's gonna be that, like, you starting on the ride. It's so much hype, so much anticipation. But once you get over that first hill and you start going straight, you plummet straight down. You're building momentum, and you're gonna get all that, those doubts, those people coming to you. It's like, oh well, such and such tried this, but it ain't work out, or you got to be a certain type of person for, you don't got the connections and all this other stuff to make it work and all this other stuff. And it's like you getting hit with all that. You second guessing yourself, so much doubt. And then, like you said, once you get down that hill, you build up that momentum, you shoot up, and you take all them curves and turns and whatever. It works out in the end if you keep going. You don't just stop in the middle of a roller coaster. You keep going until you get to the end. And it's just like, we get off midway. That first hill that we hit, we would get off. Shut the roller coaster down. We off it. We going straight back to the kiddie ride, the 9 to 5, And I'm like, that video would spark so much controversy in the environment that we live in. Because first of all, what were they in college or high school?
College.
Okay. I just saw it drop out of school. I don't know why I thought
they were
younger.
They were having that conversation in the dorm.
Okay. And I don't know why we push college so heavy. I understand. Yeah, it can. Not even that, because I was sitting in college. I was thinking, like, I want to do mechanical engineering. So I'm sitting there taking all these classes and sitting with a group of friends, and I'm just like, yeah, let me see what a mechanical engineer actually does on like a day-to-day basis. So I look it up on my little computer, YouTube it, and I'm like, this ain't nothing of what I'm studying.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like, yo, mechanical engineering is like really basic. It's just basic math. It's a lot of math. That's about it. Like, I'm like, where's the robots and the building cars from scratch and all this other stuff? It's like, no. I'm just sitting there like, I could become a mechanical engineering with like a basic high school education.
Video.
Yeah, right. I'm like, what am I here for? What is this?
Right.
What?
Yeah. just for a certification. Literally, you just there for a certification.
Like,
and a certification don't mean nothing because you'll get into the job and realize that somebody else ain't got a certification. They just got there because they were grandfathered in.
Yep. And it's ridiculous. Like,
because it ain't what you know, is who you know.
Who you know. Big facts.
And that even applies to college. And think it don't. Think it don't. You sitting up there going to school for a degree to get somebody to work for somebody's company. You get in the company and find out that they done put their kids in there. They ain't even got no degree. Think it ain't.
Yep.
See it happening. See it happen all the time, bro.
And dude, we see it happening in Amazon. It's like, I think now, everybody in, I want to say now everybody in management hasn't done any type of grunt work. Well, I mean,
there's a few.
There's a few that started out from grunt workers and worked away. Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, but they add a spin on it to make it seem like they did more than they claim to do.
Oh, I thought we had a whole fresh new crew now.
Nah, because they got Shemp up in there. They got Herb. They got Melissa. Some other folks, Jay. Some of those folks they started off from the bottom, but it.
In management.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I forgot I heard about Shemp, but I didn't know about Herb. Okay.
I mean, Herb was a tier 1.
Yeah, I know. Like, he worked up, but I'm talking about like in the office, in the open door policy office.
Oh yeah. No, hell no, those you got. No. Let me not do that. Tyler. Yeah, Tyler was a tier 1. Adam was a tier 1 at one point. Will Knuckles started off as a tier 1. I believe the jury is out on whether or not Kevin came in as a tier 1 or not. I don't know. Nobody knows. He just kind of appeared. He spawned in the middle of the warehouse one day with a red vest on. So like, I don't know. We don't know. Yeah, ain't no record on that man. But, corporate plant. Anyway,
it's very interesting how we put ourselves in positions like that, and literally put ourselves, like no one else put us there. Yeah, we may have had the lack of knowledge. We were just doing what our parents thought was best. We were doing what everybody else was doing, what our environment taught us to do. But now there is no excuse. People are literally getting famous off TikTok videos. People are networking with,
there's people doing what you doing, getting famous off of TikTok videos.
Exactly.
Like no matter what industry you in, Mark.
You can have a 9-to-5 and just make regular TikTok videos about your 9-to-5 and become wildly successful. Like, have you seen the TED Talk of, I don't know his last name, Jordan
Howlett?
Yes. Have you seen his TED Talk?
Love that guy. Yeah, I saw it. I watched it.
Brett, like, no one knew about his past and what he went through.
Yeah.
The man was a whole baseball something. He made it in the major leagues.
He was a D1 baseball player.
And no one knew.
Not major league, D1. It was college.
And I'm like his story almost brought me to. All right, so like while I was listening to it, I was like, I thought it was gonna be like your average Joe, success story. Oh, I tried to sport, got injured. Now I pivoted. Now I'm wildly successful. But yeah, no one would know his story unless he sat there and told it. But like, it just goes to show that you don't have to be this superstar to hang out with celebrities. You don't have to be you don't have to come from greatness. You can just be great in your authentic self and be wildly successful. I seen this man make a TikTok with 50 Cent. Was it 50 Cent? Yeah. No. Was it 50 Cent or Method Man? One of them. You know, and all he does is tell how to make, restaurant. He does what? Restaurant secret recipes or whatever.
I found him doing like fun facts. He was doing the fun facts in the mirror.
That's it. He was like, yo, let me try this drink. You know, he saw that, it was picking up some traction. He kept going. Kai, the streamer, doing streams with Nicki Minaj, played a mock game or something with Steph Curry, and heard it was trash. Like, dude ain't even that good of a ball player, but like, he's out there because they're doing the things that they love. They put themselves. Nah, Kai, the streamer.
I don't know who that is, man. Keep going.
But anyway, people are doing things that we want to do. People are living our dreams, living your dreams, and all they did was figure out a formula to where what they do naturally, brings them money, and they feed that into more and more things. They do more and more things just off of doing the one thing. Like Mac explained, like, you put yourself in a position to where everything just flows. We're always trying to go against the flow. We're always trying to do things that set us off course, and it always leads to depression. It always leads to some type of regret.
No. We're always doing things to go with the flow. Is what we're doing. And the reason I say that is because if you're talking about 9-to-5ers, you're talking about people who work for a living, like they just work jobs for a living. They go with the flow, which leads to depression because the system that they're in, it causes them to just be mundane, and it causes them to forget their dreams. So we're going with the flow, not against the flow. We are going against the flow. That's why people keep telling us that we ain't gonna be able to make it, because we trying to do things like, be YouTube stars and stuff and video game developers, and people who go with the flow ain't even got the idea to do stuff like that. Write books and all that other stuff. And yeah.
I mean, yeah, but it's only, how about we say it's different flows that we can take, and the flow we're in is systematic. It was created by the system for us to be in, for us to be mundane in, and breaking out of that, putting ourselves into a formula or a system that flows in a way that we want it to, instead of throwing yourself into a river, make a little section off the river, make your own flow, make your own little creek or whatever, and you just be productive in it. All the fish that comes and swims down your creek, you get it. You ain't gotta share it with nobody else. It's just yours, and you could be successful. You can scale that creek into a lake. You can scale that lake into what's bigger than a creek? I don't know, but anyway,
I mean, a lake is bigger than a creek.
Lake is bigger than a creek. Oh, what's a river? What's a creek? What's a anyway.
Man, you no, let's not do that.
But it's out there, people. Like, Mac explained it the best way he could. Like, it don't get no simpler than that. Just find a system that works for you and go for it. The
And be
information is out
deliberate.
there. Oh, yeah, yeah. You know,
Because
don't. Mm-hmm.
if you're not deliberate in what you're doing, then you'll end up just going with somebody else's flow. Mark, you're right. You're right about that. Different flows for different processes. And the problem is that people ain't making their own flow. You're
Yeah.
going along with somebody else's flow, and that's why I've been so frustrated with my life, because I was going with somebody else's flow. I was going with Jeff Bezos' flow. And Jeff Bezos' flow don't have nothing to do with my flow. If I was going to work somewhere in logistics and do something like that, like I should have been up in there, you know, if I was going to open my own warehouse or something, and or logistics or trucking company or something, I should have been in there talking to truck drivers.
Big facts.
Like for like something like that, like for real. And you know, one of the things that I'm starting to learn about 9 to 5ers, and this could potentially start a completely different topic, so I'm gonna try not to go too deep into it. But we as 9 to 5ers, we fail to see opportunity when opportunity come to us. We just fail. We outright do not see it. Like it could be in our face, you know, plain as day, and for whatever reason, we just ignore it. And I don't know why that happens. I don't know why people do it, but you know, there's a lot of people who, when the opportunity knocks, they got their eyes closed, or you know, they got their Beats by Dre on, and they got their noise canceling headphones on, so they can't hear the knock at the door. You know, some people would go through their entire lives, saying that they want to do something with all our opportunities all around them, and not even they won't even say anything about it. They won't even go in that direction because they don't want to sacrifice the net. So they don't want to sacrifice their safety. They don't want to sacrifice their comfort. So they'll stay in a situation and ignore all of the signs that come to them. So, and the reason I say that is because there are some people who say that they want to work a trucking company or they want to start a trucking company. Like I've worked with people at Amazon on the ship dock who said that they want to start a trucking company and ain't never became friends or networked with any other truck drivers who constantly walking through the building.
Now, I did meet a guy. He works in Pick. He's done that. He has a couple of trucks and a couple of people under him.
Yeah, I know Wayne. Yeah, shout out.
Yeah. And I'm like, he's like, I'm literally just here for like the benefits and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo,
yeah.
What did you do? Like, you just be out there.
Wayne out here making money.
You need to teach that, you know.
That man said he got 3 people driving for him. It was like, bro, I got 3 people driving up the road for me right now. I was like, bro, come on, dog. What you here for? He told me the same thing. I'm just here for the benefits, dog. That self-employed don't have no good benefits, dog. And I was like, I threw a few companies at him. I was like, yo, but what about this company here? It's like, yo, I heard they do good for self-employed people. It's like, for real? Hey, I'm gonna check that out, man. Appreciate that. I don't know if you ever checked it out because he still worked there, so I don't know.
That net too secure, too tight.
Yeah.
But
that fallback just in case something go wrong. You know, you got it in your mind. 9 to 5 people always got it in your mind that something might go wrong. Always.
And it's crazy because people out here thinking the opposite and just exhaling. Like they start something, they be in the first couple of years, just starting, like, yo, we gonna do this and everything gonna work out, everything gonna be right, you know. And once they get into it, they still got that faith piece that, like, yo, we are gonna make it, you know. We gonna put all our time and our effort into this, and we gonna make this thing happen, you know. Pocket pair, the guy I mentioned, the Asian dude with the that new AI system or whatever, you know, at the very beginning, like we didn't have the technology to do what he wanted, but he still had faith that his idea was going to be something someday. Now that we have the technology now, he put it out there, and it's going to revolutionize the industry. Like it's just that simple. Like you, and it makes me mad, bro. Like people are so quick to put themselves down, to put themselves in a position of basically like slave, continuous labor.
Gotcha.
There's something better out there for you guys that are listening, for us. There's something better out there, and we just don't go for it. It's ridiculous.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. I was listening to there's this chick. She's an entrepreneur online. Her name is Rachel Rogers, and she had this free book on Audible. You know, I think it was kind of advertising her actual book, and you know, I didn't listen to the book because it was for women. So you know, she got on that joint talking about they say we supposed to be but we supposed to stay at home with the kids and bump all that. And I was like, okay, I don't think I'm the target audience for this. So, but you know, one thing she did say in her free joint, because her free joint was for everybody. I don't know how the book became women, you know, just women focused in general, but it was kind of hard to listen to as a grown ass man. She said that people who are accustomed to working a job, when they make the transition into doing something else, they usually 90% of the time plan to fail, but never plan to succeed. Now, what that looks like, and the way as she explained it, what it looks like is, you know, you go into something and you say, instead of saying, you know, I'm going to do this and get XYZ outcome. She said usually when people get that XYZ outcome, usually it's the negative. You know, if I do this, then I won't get, or you know, maybe I won't get. For instance, let me try to clarify it a little bit, based on something that we talk about on this podcast. It's the difference between me saying that when I do a marketing campaign, instead of saying something like, I'm about to get 50,000 people subscribed to my newsletter with this marketing push. Instead of saying that, you know, people say, well, maybe I won't get this many, blah, 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 you know, and they go with the former, like I don't know, and I'm probably not explaining it correctly, but she said people usually going into it with a negative mindset, so they psych themselves out before they even get a chance to fight for it. It's like you making the plan, and it says, instead of making the plan saying I'm going to do this, people say, well, maybe I can't do this, so let me dumb down the goal a little bit. Maybe I can't get 50,000 subscribers to my newsletter, so let me try to go for 5,000 instead.
Yeah, they basically do. They do less, or they psych they psych themselves out and end up doing less, or
yeah, they try to make a more achievable goal, because they don't want to face disappointment. And you know, it makes sense. You know, it sounds good in theory. It sounds good in theory. Like I can understand. Like when I say it makes sense, I can understand how somebody can come to that logic.
Yeah,
I can understand it. But it does more harm than good in the long run. Is what I come to find out. Because, like Marcus said, you you half-ass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I woke up with the goal to do 50,000 or get 50,000 subscribers, then I gotta move in a way to get 50,000 subscribers. But if I say that I'm going to get 5,000 subscribers because I didn't want to go for the goal of 50,000, then I move a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one thing that you can't argue is that the person who wake up with the goal to make $1 million a year don't have the same schedule as the person who's trying to make 100,000. Like, they don't have the same process. Like, you can't go for those two things in the same capacity. Like, and especially if you choose to do 100,000, then you're doing 100,000. You're doing work for 100,000. You're not doing work for $1 million. It's very, very rare that somebody doing $1 million work and only expecting 100,000. Like, no, that's not usually how that works. That's not how the human brain works. So,
yep.
It's just a matter of perspective, man. You know, she said Serena Williams. She said Serena Williams when she won her 18th tournament or her 17th tournament, Serena woke up, or she was getting up in the following year, in the following season, and was saying that all I need to do is get to 18. I just want to get to 18. She said she sat down with her coach, and her coach was like, "Why the fuck you looking for 18? You need to be looking for 30."
Oh.
And she was like, "Oh." And the whole perspective changed. It was like, all right, the goal line has moved forward now, so let me go for 30. Like, you know, her routine when she was waking up going for 18 and her routine for going to 30, like, they were completely different routines. She was like, okay, now I realize I'm going a lot harder. And then she ended up doing 18, 19, 20. She got to 23. Before she inevitably stopped playing tennis. But, you know, I say all that to get to the point that actually I don't know where I was going with that.
I got you.
Wrap that around to the topic. Yeah. I'll be out here.
So on another side of that, you know, we're so risk adverse that we can even sell ourselves short and get bombarded with too much work or too less of work and psych ourselves out. Like, you can say you're doing all that work, or, you know, you're going hard, and you're second guessing yourself. You're so much doubt that you offer a course, or you sell your book, or whatever, and you're like, I'm not. It's not worth that much to somebody else, you know. So let me put it.
Yeah.
Let me put it up for, you know, this low amount, and then now everybody's looking at it like, oh well, since it costs that much, it might not be all that. But if you would have, you know, had faith in yourself and been like, yo, I'm going for this. I put all this time in this. You know, I'm gonna put not the largest amount, but I'm gonna put what it's actually worth, and people actually come forth and be like, oh, okay, that's the price tag. All right, this must be something. Let me invest in this. Let me buy this. Let me see what this is talking about. And because it hurt they pockets, you know, they gonna take it to heart. They gonna actually, you know, act upon whatever they just bought, whatever they just invested into. They gonna act on it because it was worth something to them. You know, if it's worth something to you, go for it. Put that big price tag on it. You know, somebody gonna buy it. Somebody gonna check it out. You know, and you would want people that are willing to pay that much, because you know that they are serious. If it's a course, if it's a service, if you know, if it's anything, you know, people out here buying Sony products religiously, and price tag keep going up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apple people, bro. Apple people, they so fanatical about Apple products that, like, phone contracts don't mean nothing to them.
Facts. They get
I'm just like, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna hold the phone until the next G come out, and they just like, okay, new phone came out, let me go ahead and get that. They upgrading in the middle of contracts, they paying termination fees and all that other type of stuff just to get. I'm like, yo, how does that work?
Ridiculous, man. But yep, yeah,
Yeah, that's realistic, dog. Like somebody told me one time, and bruh, when I went to the first convention, and they was like, I explained my book, and they was like, "You selling it for how much?" I was like, $10. It was like, "Why the fuck is the price so low?" I was like,
right?
"What do you mean?" And somebody came back. Somebody read my book one time, dog, after paying $10 for it, and they came back after they read the book. And this is the Gem Stay Siege based on the first time I wrote it, not the new updated special edition that I'm about to drop now. This is the Gem Stay Siege, and
OG version.
Yeah, OG version. But they bought that joint, read it, came back and was like, "Here's 40 more." And I was like, "What is this for?" Like, what is this? Like, I gave you this because I believe your story is worth a lot.
Come on.
Like, and that's just based on my opinion, but I believe something like I would feel comfortable paying this much for this book. And I was like,
that would have been the price tag.
That's wild. But yeah, like from that point on, like it changed my perspective of what I'm worth. Like it added worth and value to me as an artist. So yeah, that's realistic. Like you had to add some kind of value to yourself, man. Because if you can't add value to yourself, it's hard to find people that's going to add value to you for you.
Yeah.
So that's realistic, man. So always think highly of what you're doing. Like it's a level of humility that needs to be had, but at the same time, you can't just necessarily be in this motion where you're constantly knocking points off of yourself when you're putting yourself out into the market.
Yeah. Yeah. So
let's wrap it up.
Get out here.
We got business conversation to have.
Get out here and do the darn thing. And just be wildly successful doing what you live. That's all it is to it. All right. What we got coming up for the people?
So I made today is the 24th, right? And I got 3 more chapters that I need to write. And I don't know if I'm going to make it today. The reason is because I've been working on a few other things, just trying to make sure that everything is settled before I go back to work. Because when I go back to work, I'm gonna be the only one going back to work, and I want to make sure that I leave the house correct in a good state, and it won't fall into chaos when I leave here. So yeah, just got a few things going on, but I've been doing a whole bunch of research and development behind the scenes, and what it caused me to do is because the Gem Stay Siege has a brand new cover, and we're going a little bit more to the fantasy roots of what the Eighth Universe is. It caused me to research titles. So with that being said, the Gem Stay Siege now has a new title.
Okay.
And it's a completely different book now. It's no longer Gem Stay Siege Updated Edition. It's a brand new book. Same series, new look, not the same book, but we it is what it is. So I'll be revealing that. I'll be revealing that pretty soon. So I'm excited about it. Marcus already saying the new cover. But now that we got a new cover, I felt like the old title, the direction that we were going, I felt like the old title wasn't cutting it. So yeah, man, we moving forward with this new thing, man. And are trying to be competitive. That's the main thing here is being competitive. And in order to be competitive, you have to actually meet the competition where the competition is at and exceed from there.
Cool. Like that. All right. So if we can reveal it on the same day, we can. I'll show you the designs, but the logo I would say is probably about 80% done. I got the design already. Just need to put some I need to add one more design and add some textures to it, and that'll be up for reveal. Hopefully I can get that done today. I don't think we're doing anything today, so I should be able to put a whole day's worth of work into that, and we're gonna go from there.
All right, so it look like next week we got we revealing some stuff.
Yes,
so stay
sir.
tuned.
Alrighty, people. We're gonna wrap it up. This has been the Dirty Trunk Podcast, where the elephant is always welcome. It's me, your boy Marcus Morton. I always say with me is the Aaron Mack. And before we go, please trample over that like and subscribe button. We do this for y'all because we love y'all. We just want to give y'all the motivation to be better than y'all were yesterday. And always remember, those who shy away from addressing the elephant in the room are doomed to be crushed by the weight of it. We love y'all.
Peace. Love y'all. See y'all next week.